morning, Saturday morning. Yeah, you're tuned in, and hopefully you're definitely bundled up. It's the cold front is definitely here. So everybody, yes, warm cup of coffee. If that doesn't heat you up and cool you down at the same time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and read your comments. Once again, we always appreciate your comments. Your comments is what makes the show. Do definitely appreciate that. And always, if you guys got questions and stuff like that, sometimes, like I said, there's a comment in there that will actually dictate what we're doing and what we're talking about and all that stuff. So actually, this time around, I've actually got something very cool. We were lucky and able to get this for kind of an overhaul and look at before we return it, to kind of check it out for you guys. So hey, yeah, stay tuned. Blue box. It doesn't start with a C, I promise. I know. And some other things to talk about. We got some rounds here that actually started loading, and talk a little bit about that. A little bit. Little Night of the Living, 4440. All right, here we go. We're going to read your comments in no particular order. Again, if your comment wasn't read, it could be after the fact of the show, or for some reason moderators got you. I don't know. It went off into the Twilight Zone, to another sight and sound of mind. Okay, here we go. First one up, Jeffrey Richardson. Jeffrey Richardson says, "Good morning, beautiful wheel gun." Yes, sir, absolutely. Want to hear that one. Yes, so we're talking about we're talking about the time that me and my Uncle Milton and I were sat up on a hill on a coffee plantation to go hunt pigs. All right, so let me remember, try to remind me after I read your comments to tell you that story. All right, go ahead and remind me, right? Just say, hey, remember that story. DB says, "Good morning. I have one of those T-Sauce GI repops in the gray color with the brown plastic grips. Very cool little piece. Love the nostalgia and the colors on it. You're lucky. That's cool that you have that. Hang on to it, because I have not seen any more of those. Have not seen them doing anything more with them. Like I said, I saw the GI repop now that they got out. They changed it. They don't have that gray color anymore. They're Parkerized black. Big mistake on their part, I think. They had it, man. They had it. So now they're changing it. Once again, the other company that had it really good, they did it right, was the Auto Ordnance, or they got bought out by Car Arms. They're the ones too. They did it really well. They had a Parkerized kind of grayish color on theirs. Excellent. I used to have one. Wish I still did. Ended up, I think, my buddy back in Hawaii, Cody, he ended up with it. Hope he still has it. Maybe he'll sell it back to me. I don't know how he'd be able to do that. I'm gonna tell him to bring it on the airplane with him and bring it out here, and so I can give him some cash and trade him out for it. But no, that was that was one that was done right. Wish I still would have kept and hung on to something like that. But as so be it. What's interesting about that? I'll tell you something very interesting. Is they had that gray color on that dark. It was a real dark parkerizing on that, dark gray, and that was they were running it. It was great. And you know who else was doing that? Inland. That company that bought that name, Inland, in Dayton, Ohio, was also doing their own stuff, and they were getting out their stuff. And the two things that they did for sure was the M1 carbine and that 1911. That was for sure. They did do an Ithaca 37 trench gun, which is now rarer than hen's teeth. And if you find one, I think they want like $2,000 for it, which is outrageous. But when they first came out with their 1911s, they were Parkerized gray as well. And then all of a sudden they weren't, and they were black. The one I got, I ended up being the black Parkerizing. Ironically, same time this happened, Car Arms, their Auto Ordnance 1911 quit being gray too. They went black. I don't know. You put it together. Are you double paying for the same gun only just because somebody put their roll marks on it? I don't know. Okay. This one is from Slimfire. Good morning, JW. I hope your day is good, going good. When I was young, we played outside all day long. Now kids play video games all day long. You never see children out. Have a great weekend, and thanks for the videos. Slim, yes, absolutely. You are very welcome. Yeah, I too. You know what? When I was younger, man, you could drag us inside. We were outside as long as we could go, drinking out of the water hose. And when my mom says you better eat something before you go out and play, I took a handful of that dry dog food from the dog kennel. Of course, the dog kind of looking at me like, "Really, you're gonna take my stuff?" And put it in my pocket and ate those on the way down. Yes, I ate dog food because at least I could say, "Did you?" When I was asked, "Did you eat?" I said, "Yes, I did." All right. Crazy Scotsman, yes, sir. White gloves don't exist around here. That Lou Horton special is a fine example. High polish perfection. Always enjoyed the stories. Your uncle sounds like he was a hoot. Keep them coming, brother. Yes, my Uncle Milton was a hoot. I was so grateful and blessed that I got to go on some of these adventures with him. Uh, I tell you that even going to the NRA banquet dinner thing that they did on the island, I went with him on one of those years, and that was the best year I ever had going to that. I quit going to him after that. Didn't really attend to him anymore. But man, he was a riot during that. He was just in general. He was, and he would say things to me that I just. There was some fun times. This one's for Joe P. And yes, we get coffee for Joe. Good morning, JW. Really sad to hear Tony Todd's passing. Yeah, Tony Todd, man. I tell you, Candyman. My favorite movie with him, which was really the first one I saw him in, was aside from his portrayal, he's in Platoon, Night of the Living Dead remake, 1990s. Man, Tony Todd just nailed it. He just really he gave that movie so much substance. He is the heart of that movie, no doubt. And it's sad, Tony Todd was only 69. According to it, they said he had some really, he befell on some illness and stuff. That's just a bummer, dude. And you know what? And it's like for me too, like I feel like all my heroes from the 80s, they're all passing away. And, just you didn't think about that. Time is progressing, time's moving on so far. It's like it's just getting so far ahead. And it's like I'm thinking, it's like, gosh, how quick time passes. I was just thinking the other day, it's like, man, I've been graduated out of high school for almost, over 20 years. It's like, how does this happen? But it does. It goes by really quickly, and the older I get, I used to hear that too when I was younger, a lot younger. I used to hear that too. All the old timers would tell me, watch it, kid. Time goes by. Time goes by. Time goes by. And I was just a hot trot teenager, and just, time is infinity, man. I'm invincible. Ah, man. And then the time goes by, and then you just realize, like, wow, all these people, people you know are gone. Uh, Movies got even older. Your favorite actors are gone. You get up in the morning, and when it's like you roll out of bed and you realize you just twisted the wrong way, the rest of the day your back kind of hurts. Um, my old injuries from being stupid and riding bikes outside and jumping around and reenacting things from a 1969 hand combat book with my friend from high school and dislocating my knee. Yeah, all this stuff starts coming back and haunting you, and you're like, what's going on? So, all right. So this is back to Joe P's comment. He was awesome in Final Destination series, which I actually did not know he did that. I remember seeing the very first one of those. Do not even remember it, but I'll have to go back and check that out. I do know it was kind of a interesting theory of a horror movie. And Candyman, of course. But for me, I will always remember him in a movie that I put in my personal top 10 sleeper called Man from Earth with David Lee Smith. One of my favorite character actors, Richard Riley. Also William Catt. Oh, William Catt. Isn't William Catt in House? The whole horror movie from the 80s directed by Sean S. Cunningham. That's a really cool movie, by the way. If you haven't seen that movie, that's a good movie. House. William Cap, their greatest American hero. We got more back in the early '80s, huh? Good stuff. I have not. I don't think I've seen Man from Earth. I'm gonna have to check that out, Joe. Appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing movies with us. Movie titles, always good. Always good stuff. All right, this one's from James Bell. Good morning to you. Speaking of a slowdown of people purchasing collectible firearms, I saw recently Colt is offering rebates on their snake guns. Also, my wife and I love horror movies, especially lower budget ones. Yes, the low budget ones are the best. Like Motel Hell. There's one called Intruder. It's like Intruder is a grocery store horror movie. Literally, it's got Bruce Campbell in it. That's a low budget one out there. And of course, the king of low budget. I mean, come on, Evil Dead. They used cream of wheat for whatever the heck they were doing in the end of that. Cheers, JW, and that's from James. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. All right, this one is from Hug or Ruthling. 44 special is the 624. Yes, it is. Thank you. Appreciate that. I couldn't remember what the 44 special one is. I have to dig that one out. I got the 629 I brought out last week. I've got the 44 special version of that with the Magna grips or those finger groove banana grips on there. I got one in 44 special, and that's what it is. It's a 624. Thank you. I was trying to figure out what the heck was that one called. It's a 624 because I knew it wasn't the 625 because that one would be a 45. But yeah, 624. I have to dig that out. Remind me, guys, dig that out. Say, hey, you told us you were going to dig out that 44 special, that revolver. I'll dig it out. This one here is from Sean Lee. I love your 629. It is so sexy. I watched Evil Dead 2 last night and Army of Darkness. Such a classic. Bruce Campbell is the best. Yes. Do you feel that Colts are getting better now that CZ owns them? Absolutely. CZ is the reason why we got the snake guns and all that back, because I do believe this, because I saw an interview with the guy, the new head honcho or jefe or whatever, the guy that's in charge there making decisions. One of the things I saw that he said that I really liked was he said he always admired and remembered the Gold Cup and the Python. And really, those were two firearms that always stuck with him. And now that he's the guy with Colt, that was like his personal goal, was to get those things back. I tell you, I did get to totally check out a Viper, one of the new Vipers in the 357 Magnum with a 3-inch barrel. I just think it's such a solid piece. I really do. For shootability and going out there and blasting and stuff like that. I couldn't be any happier with my Python. The 6-inch blue one I got, that's a newer one, that the CZ, and I do believe, it's like, if you look at it, yeah, this is current CZ stuff. Think about this. Everybody's like, I remember the uproar. Oh my gosh, I'm going to want one pre-CZ and all this kind of hoopla about that. Like, CZ's absorbed Dan Wesson's, and that's been like that for years. It's probably the best thing that could happen to them, bump back up to their quality and the things that they were made for. Like, I love that new Python. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it for an old one. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't, because I wanted a Python that I take to the range and blast it and shoot it, and it's going to handle it, and it's going to do well. They re-engineered and designed this thing to do that. I always say this, look, you're going to get haters no matter what, but always keep this in mind. Sometimes you got to look at this way, and then, it's got to be somewhat true. A lot of these haters come from the fact that they're just upset that now they can't rake somebody over the coals for $4,000 to $5,000 for an old Python. And I'll tell you, I've watched, there's a couple of people I followed on the broker sites and stuff like that. There's one guy for sure that I followed, and then I bought a Diamondback snubby from him. He listed a Python, his 6-inch blue, that was in good shape. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like 100% or anything, but it was a good, probably 95% condition wise. And you know what? $1,800. Hey, you know, look, you're so obsessed with the old ones. Now's the perfect time to buy one because guess what? The prices dropped. So if you really want an older one, you couldn't have picked a better time to want one. But me, I prefer the new one. I'll take the new one any day. So that's kind of my take on that. Um, all right, I'm going to tell you guys a story. You ready for this one? Okay, my uncle Milton was getting along with age towards the time when I was hanging out with him the most. He was still able to get out and go do stuff, no problem. He was tough as nails. He'd always still be in his yard cutting stuff, and of course living right next to him. And all I had to do was peek my head out the window and go, "Hey, what you doing down there?" And he'd tell me something, you know. So I go up there, and I always remember. I go, "Hey," I said, "Uncle, what you up to?" And he looked at me. He goes, "About 5'5". He goes, "I used to be about 5'7", 5'6", but you know, gravity." He goes, "A lot of things fall in gravity." He goes, "You're going to find that out." That was what he used to say to me, stuff like that. That I guess it's about as PG as I can get it to where it's some of the stuff he used to say. But anyway, he was really obsessed with hunting. He really wanted to just go hunting for pigs. So I was always trying to figure out, okay, well, how do we do this? Um, I got a hold of a guy that I knew. He was a friend of mine that was up, you know, we were up at he was up at the hangout area, one of the guys, the crew guys up there, where if you guys remember all those beautiful videos I shot where the green hills and the green grass and everything, beautiful outdoor range, some of the very first original outdoor shooting videos that you guys saw, that was all done up there at my friend Ron's house. Ron, you know, sadly passed away since I've been out, moved away from the island. Ron was a really great guy. All those guys up there that we used to hang out with were all great guys. I tell you, every Sunday, that's what we did. We go up there, we hung out, I shot guns, and, you know, just, it's so hard for me to look at that as a memory now because it seems like it was so yesterday to me. Uh, but you know that place was that Ron sharing his property with me, and we were going up there long before YouTube and doing everything. Just when I got the idea to do this YouTube channel, of course I said, "Hey, can I shoot some video?" Yeah, you know, go ahead. So it played a really big part in, you know, getting a lot of those videos done, a lot of those really cool stuff. He had an amazing property. It really showcased the beauty of the island and what you could do out there. But anyway, one of those guys up there, I met him, and I talked to him, and he said he had a coffee land. I mean, of course, everybody on the island has a coffee land. Um, and he said, "I got pigs that come down there, root and destroy my fields." He goes, "Do you ever want to go shoot one?" He goes, "By all means." And I said, "Really?" I said, is it possible I can take my uncle up there and go do this?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll give you the directions, and here you go." And I said, "Okay, cool." So this was back when, you know, we didn't, I mean, the cell phone, I don't know, we didn't use the cell phone like we do now. I had a flip phone, so did he, my uncle. And so we got a map, you know, he drew us a map. So we sitting there in the car looking at this map, and you know, so we went there. I told my uncle about it. My uncle's jazzed, man. He's like, "Oh man, this is going to be great." You know, he loaded up his rifle. I took a gun just to, you know, make sure and all that. And so he was so excited. And one of the things he loved to do, at least I think he loved to do, he'd get a 5-gallon bucket and just start putting all kinds of stuff in it. He used to tell, he goes, "Oh, this is going to be like a buffet, man." He goes, "It's going to be a smorgasbord for this pig. He's going to love it. And then I'm going to put one in it." And so we go up there, and we're driving up there, man. My uncle's jazzed. I tell you, he couldn't have been more excited. So we go up there. He's laying out all that stuff. We scouted everything, you know, and us too. Like, we're professional hunters, right? Sure, we knew nothing about hunting. So, you know, we're up there, and I mean, we're putting our scent all over the damn place. He's dumping out all this like rotten food that he's been saving in a 5-gallon bucket. And we go back down to his truck. He sets up his lawn chair. I'm sitting there, and we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. And the sun is going down. And I mean, it just, and I tell you too, like, and I bought this hunter's makeup, and I was gonna put the, like Rutger Hauer in Surviving a Game, put all the makeup on or something like out of Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I tried to get him to do it. He wouldn't do it at all. He said, "I'm not putting that on my face." I did it. I did it just for the heck of it, and yeah. We waited up there on that hill all night, and not a one pig came. Not a single pig showed up. You know what? But I tell you though, that whole night and then going up there with him and spending that, in the end, the ultimate thing was I got that memory with him. Going up there to that hill and spending hours sitting in the back of his pickup truck waiting for pigs that were not going to show up. And we went back down the hill, went to McDonald's for dinner, and that was that. Oh man, I miss him. I miss you, Uncle. I really do. We had some good times. We had some really good times. Lots of fun times, man. I tell you, he used to do things just to get a laugh and get a rise, and that was the one thing about him, man. That man lived to laugh, and that was it. I mean, he did it under other people's expenses. It may not have been cool to them. I get it, but man, I tell you, it was just for a hoot, and he just lived to laugh. He just had to laugh about something. Okay, before I open that box, I was messing around with 4440. That's why this is out. Messing around, loading up some. I tell you this much, man. I tell you, I loaded a lot of stuff. 4440 is probably my least. I hate this brass, by the way. If you've never messed with this brass before, the rim, the mouth of the case is like paper thin. You could almost take it and squeeze it. You can squeeze it with your hand and crush it. It is so easy to crush the casings, and they're expensive too. And part of it is because when you fire it, especially in a rifle, it really shines. It flares out really good and causes it to seal up really well. So they're wonderful in lever guns. But I tell you, man, I hate how paper thin it is. It's so paper thin. It makes me think that brass is going to just like fall apart in like a matter of like 4 reloads or something. And I've got 45 Colt brass that I've loaded since I've started loading 45 Colt. I swear some of that stuff is out. But yeah, I started messing around with this. Just wanted to run it in a lever gun that I have not run. So got that going because you know what, with the weather cooling down, we've been trying to get out and go shooting and stuff like that. So even though my favorite shooting buddy, I wish he could get out and go with me more, but he can't. So unfortunately, I miss that too. But that's it. Guys. I mean, guys. Life is so, even for me. Like I'm telling you, like it's like I'm noticing it, man. It's flying by. Body ain't working like it used to, and all those things that the old, my elders told me, man, everything is true. Man, it sucks, and it only gets better, right? So, all right, what do we have? We have something for you. We're gonna open it up. This is basically this is one of the new Smith & Wesson classics. This is my first look at one. I got a hold of this thing specifically for the video before we give it back. It's not ours. But I wanted to give you my first impressions on it, what I thought, honest to truth review going over this thing myself. What it is a Model 17. It's a 22 revolver, 6-inch barrel, blued, classic with the wood grips. I think, it's a copy of the K22 Masterpiece. This is a brand new one that they got out. I'm going to tell you something before I open this up. I'm going to tell you the only thing I've ever seen of these was photos. I only saw photos of it. To me, it looked good. It looked fine. The grips look funky. I haven't even opened this yet, by the way. The grips look funky to me in the photos. So we'll see how this shakes out when I open this up. Thank you to my friend for loaning us this. Anyway, I thought it was really funky looking. I'm gonna tell you something. I've had personally. This is my personal experience. Something you guys may not know. I've had the most rotten luck with 22 revolvers. I ain't kidding. I must be cursed. I'm knocking on wood because I don't even want my curse to rub off on this thing before I give it back. I've had the most rotten luck. And let me tell you something. I've had several. I've had several. I've had K-22s. I've had the 34. I've had Colt 22 revolvers. I've had the Taurus 22 revolver. I've had a bunch of them, and none of them ever worked out good for me. I've had ones where most of the time what I have is on double action mode, light strikes. Bang, click, click, bang, click, 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 bang. I mean, literally all the time, nonstop. Clean the dickens out of the cylinder and everything, just trying to get it to work. Always try to mess with the hammer spring, you name it. Just never had good luck with them. Bought a Taurus, kid you not, bought an older Taurus that looked just like one of these, like K-22s or masterpieces from the years gone back. Beefy gun, beautiful, looked like a K-frame, maybe a little beefier, older school Taurus. I even, before I bought it, test fired it. Test fired it in a tunnel, boom, 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 worked just fine, bought it, took it home, went to the range, click, click, click. Not even kidding. I wish I was making that up. Couldn't believe that happened. That was actually happening to me. I had a Model 34 camp gun or kit gun, whatever you want to call it. Wouldn't fire. I mean, it would fire, but it had a lot of light strikes. Wish I knew what was wrong with it. Still wish I would have kept it, actually, because it was kind of a neat gun. If I ever run across another one, I'll probably pick it up. Little J-frame snubby. Had a Colt Official Police 22. Light strikes, light strikes, light strikes. Light strikes like crazy. You would think you're at a safe bet buying one of these things. Unless you're BetJack JW, I guess. So anyway, no kidding. I mean, I've had rotten luck with them. So the reason I wanted to check this out is because if I do get another one, I think I'd want a new one because I think my bets are safer with it. So as I said, as it's been said, in a lot of people say, Smith & Wesson revolvers, nothing beats a classic. Obviously, the classics are awesome. But you know what? If I wanted a shooter, I think I'm going to get one of these new ones. Okay. Here we go. Anticipation. Oh, wow. Oh. See, that's what I liked about it. 6 shots. They ran the 6 shots. That's what I like. I don't like the ones that are. I'm traditionalist. I don't like the 9-shot, 10-shot ones. So I didn't buy that new Colt Cobra 22. If it was a 6-rounder, I probably would have been all over that. Wow. This is pretty nice. The bluing is nice on it. Really nice. The barrel's nice. The grips are nicer than I thought they were going to be. The photos made the grips look terrible. The grips are not bad. They're flat. They're like really flat, where the vintage ones have more of a rounded center. These are real flat. It's like these started life as like a flat piece of wood that they just kind of beveled the edges and did that. I know I make it sound terrible, but it's actually not bad at all. It's not as wide as the normal K-frame service grips. The old school one's not as wide, but it's not terrible. It's not super thin where it doesn't match this thing or anything like that. It's not like that. Yes, it does have the key lock. Is that a deal breaker for me? No. Honestly, in a balloon gun, the key lock thing hardly stands out at all. It's got the old school latch, the big wide one. Do like that. Far as it being a frame mounted firing pin, to my knowledge, all their 22s did anyway. Also, you know what? I mean, honestly, I kind of, even though, yeah, I liked a lot of the classic stuff, I think it's safer to have the frame mounted firing pin. The old vintage ones, when they're on the hammer, I've seen one broke. I've seen one broken where it busted off. And I don't know. I don't know enough about how to replace them to replace them. It looks like you could just tap it out and flange it again. I don't know, but it's not any kind of normal looking pin that I've ever seen. It looks a little different. So I don't know how we go about in the operation replacing that, but I have seen a broken one. I have. I've seen broken hammers. This cool. This is actually cool. The hammer's wide, by the way. It's a wide hammer. That makes it cool. It's a smooth face trigger, so I like that because in double action, I'm not going to dry fire it, but in double action, which I like to shoot these things, it's when they have serrations, it's rough on your hand. It's rough on your finger. That is one thing that I wish the Python, my new Python, didn't have. I wish it didn't have the serrations on the front of the trigger. I wish they would have. It's weird because they left that with serrations, but then they left the back strap smooth when the old originals had serrations. I wish they kind of would have flip flopped that idea if I was going to critique the Python. Um, are the grips pretty well fitted? Not bad, not bad at all. The bottoms here, it's not. It's you can tell it's there, but it's not like sharp or protruding or it's going to hurt your hand. I mean, then again, it's just a 22. None of these are protruding out, so they've been really well fitted. It does look like they did a little bit of work in making sure these fit right here better than just tacking them on and kind of looking like it may have been out of place. Grips line up pretty good. It's not, there's no real areas where it's not like perfectly done. Wouldn't say it's like a super duper custom job or anything like that. Roll marks, as somebody felt the need to correct me and say, they're not roll marks, they're laser. Well, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, these are probably laser engraved. Done pretty good. I mean, I got no complaints really. I think that's how they're doing everything now is with this laser job. Looks pretty good. Front sight appears to be roll pinned in with the front sight. If I was going to critique something, I would say the front sight. You can see daylight through the front and the rear where it's resting on top of there and a little pin there. I mean, I'm just probably being picky or something like that, but doesn't seem to be moving around or anything. Then again, you're not shooting 44 Magnum out of this thing. This is done really nicely. I like the transition from the frame to the barrel right here. It's got that little step down. They beveled the edges right there. That's a nice little touch. I like that way that looks. They did do this right. Yeah, it almost. I almost thought for some reason I'm like, that can't be aluminum. No, it's not. It's all steel. Big old forcing cone as you would expect, being a 22, and it's just tapered down or squeezed down to doing that. So big old forcing cone. Boy, if you damage that, I'd like to know what the heck you were shooting. Yeah, nice. Firing pin is round. It's not like a chisel. The bluing job overall, the bluing is nice. Bluing is, yeah, you could split hairs and say, well, it's not like the old Dash 229 1971. Yeah, it's probably not, but it's nice. It's not terrible. I bet you if you rub some of this grease off from the factory, it's, because my buddy did not shoot it at all. He didn't mess with it at all. Let me see the frame lock up here. Yeah, I mean tight. The crane to the frame. This is probably because the Python, the other ones like Colts are like this too. The newer ones. I'm guessing that with the CNC machinery, they're just they don't look like one piece of metal like some of the original older guns do, where you can't even tell where the seam. You almost can't tell where the seam meets. This you can tell. You can tell where they're at, but it's not like sloppy or anything. I wouldn't say it's terrible. Nice thing about it, it is a square butt frame. You can switch these out to any grips you want. You can get pretty decent priced originals. I'm sure you can find K-frame grips or at a show or something like that, no problem. So, but yeah, what else can I say about it? I mean, it's a 6-inch barrel. It would be cool if they made like a couple of different barrel lengths of this. It'd be neat to see a 4, maybe a 3, and like a 2, like a little snubby version. That'd be cool. Wish they would do that. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's actually really nice. Um, Not bad. Doesn't it doesn't to me it doesn't have that weirdness, I guess, that the 36 has. I did a review of a 36 classic a long time ago, and I didn't like the way the frame had this contour design right here. You can see it, it's still present in this. You can see it. What I'm talking about is the look right here. It's this area that where it looks. You look at an older one, it has a nice sweep, and this just kind of like almost like like you took a miter saw and just like And I mean I'm just really trying. I'm trying to. I know it sounds like I'm just tearing this thing apart, but I'm just trying to really be honest with you, point things out that as an old Smith guy that I like. You know, you can tell this. Well, this screw is a little dogged from the factory. But not anything like that. It's like, oh my gosh, like nothing like that. No, overall, heck, I'd have no problem with one of these. Actually, I kind of like this. I wonder if he'll sell it. Nice, nice. So that's my impressions on it. What else is in here? Let's just make sure we go through the whole box. We got that. Warning label, something, whole package of stuff. Oh, here we go. Here's all the lock and the manual and all that fun stuff underneath there. Here's a set of keys. Looks like handcuff keys. That's the key to the lock. Don't lose those. I'm sure you can just get more of them from them or not. But yeah. Anyway, well, there it is. I just wanted to kind of do that. A little bit of an unboxing for you and first impressions of what I thought of one of these classics. Because to be honest with you, I've not really done exactly this. Just kind of opened one up and checked it out for the first time myself. So you guys got to see my, initial run through on one of those. Just kind of a quick rundown, overall look, and say, hey, what do I think? What do I like? What do I don't like? All that kind of jazz. So, what is my final conclusion? I like it. Wouldn't deter me from getting one, not at all. I intend to shoot it. I mean, I would intend to just run rounds. So I still, to this day, I tell you guys, I still want to get. Because finances can't really afford stuff. I kind of want one of those new 29s. I want a 29 Classic. That's, what is it, the Dash 10 or something? That's what I want. I want one of those. So maybe someday. So anyway, thanks. I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. That is 39 minutes and 40 seconds that you will never, ever get back.